Hello everyone and welcome back to another Pokemon Journeys discussion. Today we're going to talk about Iris versus Cynthia. First off, I want to apologize for being late on this. I just didn't get around to it, unfortunately. So anyway, first off, we're going to discuss the cameos. Unfortunately, there was no Silent, which was disappointing. But we did see Alder, Trip, Bianca, and Stefan, Flint, Volkner, Paul, Reggie. And I can't wait to see more cameos in the future. So anyway, we have Excadrill versus Gastrodon. Excadrill wins with Horndrill. The battle was pretty decent in my opinion. The only issue that I have, which I will discuss in a moment. So then we have Excadrill versus Milotic. Milotic wins in one shot as expected. Then we have Dragonite versus Milotic, and Milotic wins. Now back to what I said about Excadrill winning. This is where I have a problem. Ever since Iris has owned Dragonite or had it listen to every command she's had, I do not think Dragonite has ever won a battle, and it's very unfortunate that that's been the case. Like, I can understand not winning against Ash in the Hyperclass battle or to get to Hyperclass or whatever, but it is very unfortunate that Dragonite did not get a win here. And that goes with Excadrill. Like, we haven't seen Excadrill in a while, and I can see why they wanted to give it a win because it is Iris's starter, her first Pokemon, so it does make sense that Excadrill would get a win. But, you know, it's very unfortunate that Dragonite just can't get a win. And it's like, I don't really like Iris's Dragonite, but even I have to say it deserves a lot better. That being said, it losing to Milotic has to be clear-cut evidence that Iris's Dragonite's weakness is its head. Like, I don't remember what happened in Journeys when it lost or whatever, but I have to say that Journeys seems to indicate that Iris's Dragonite suffers severe brain damage and is knocked out easily if you attack its head, like Dracovish using Ice Fang directly to its head, and then a massive skull-crushing Iron Head to Dragonite's head. It was brutal, and I can understand why it lost, but it is disappointing. So then we move on to Haxorus versus Milotic. Haxorus wins, of course, and that I will discuss that later in a moment. And then we have Haxorus versus Mega Garchomp, which I think was the best matchup of the entire thing, and it was amazing to see. The disappointing thing, though, is Iris didn't use any battle gimmicks, which is unfortunate, but I guess that's acceptable. But Cynthia using Mega Garchomp was amazing. The one thing that I would have to say, one thing that I don't like about how Iris uses her three main Pokemon is that I really wish they gave her a brand new Pokemon, and Lapras would have worked, and we could have gotten G-Max Lapras even if it didn't fare too well against Cynthia's Pokemon. But unfortunately, they went with what they gave us, so I guess that's it. And then of course the Iris loses, she cries. I don't really want to touch much into the controversy of Go's character because I feel like it's unjustified, the criticism here. What I will say is that he wasn't there for Iris. His interaction with Iris was very brief and was prompted by Iris, so it's a little unfair to blame Go for anything that happened there. I know this discussion is a little bit shorter, but there wasn't really much that I could really say other than it was a pretty decent battle. I would say probably the better battle that we've had in a while. But one thing that I do have to address, and you'll notice that Haxorus defeated Milotic. What I think it's important is when it comes to these sorts of situations, you know how the battle is going to go, depending on what the last Pokemon does. I predicted this when it was Alon versus Ash. I knew that Greninja had to defeat one of Alon's Pokemon because they were not going to have Greninja versus Mega Charizard X straight up and have Greninja not take out a single Pokemon of Alon's. And what happened was that it took out Bisharp, which unfortunately meant that the other Pokemon on Ash's team did not fare too well. But I guess that's to be expected when Pikachu has to take out Metagross and Tyranitar. But here's the thing. Haxorus had to take out Milotic so it could get a win, so it could justify losing against Mega Garchomp. My problem is it makes these battles extremely predictable when the win distribution is not balanced in favor of the winner. Like, I can understand Iris really needed to take out two Pokemon. That's fine. Understandable. Champion level. Poor Alon. Wish he could fare better. Wish that episode was longer. Or that battle. Wish there was another part, but we got what we got. But you'll notice that if we talk about the 3 versus 3s in this particular series, you'll notice that they're not really good about being fair to Pokemon. Look at Volkner versus Ash. Gengar lost without taking a win. Look at B versus Ash. Surfetch did not get a win at all. But there's always another Pokemon that will either take out 2 Pokemon or 1.5 Pokemon. Here, Cynthia's Milotic took out 2 Pokemon, and Garchomp took out Iris's Haxorus. And this, I think, is a very huge problem with Journeys, and probably why I really don't like their 3 versus 3, because in trying to not be boring with the win distribution, their battles become extremely predictable and kind of annoying. What I would like, and this isn't going to happen, Ash versus Steven is going to come up, and I guarantee you either Dracovish or Gengar is losing without taking a win. Unless they do a balanced win distribution where Dracovish knocks out Aggron, Gengar takes out Cradily, and then Pikachu takes out Metagross, if that's what's going to happen. There's also one other thing that I want to address for the upcoming episode of Ash versus Steven real quick, and that's the Ash's usage of a particular Z move. I think it's possible that he's going to use the Z move. I don't know if it's absolutely confirmed. I don't know if it's been leaked. I don't know if there's an image that leaks it or whatever, but it does seem like everything is pointing to Ash using a Z Crystal over anything else. And I just have to say that doesn't make any sense to me, and I really don't like that they did it. I understand that they writ a corner for Ash to have to get away from, so that Pikachu has to use a Z move. But here's the thing. They are the writers. They get to dictate how the battle goes. They could have had Pikachu knocking out Aggron or Cradily and then lose to Metagross, and it's just Gengar again. I get why they didn't want Gengar to get another win against Mega Metagross because of Paul's Metagross, but I do think it's a little unfair that they did not work the battle so that Gigantamax Gengar could be used, because now something is going to be screwed up later on. Unless the second round is going to allow you to have 2 gimmicks, Gigantamax and a Mega Evolution, or even Ash versus Leon and use all 3, Gengar is getting screwed over here. Because I don't imagine Gengar is going to be used against Cynthia unless it's more than a 3 versus 3. Because it's going to be Lucario, Dragonite, and Surfetch. Those have to be the guaranteed Pokemon to be used against Cynthia, assuming Ash wins. And it's just not going to be really good here if Gengar is not going to be used Gigantamax. Because then it's like, what is Ash going to do against Leon? And I think that's very unfortunate, because the only options is that Ash uses his Z move again to beat Leon's Charizard, or it uses G-Max. And it's like, well, then what was the point of Gengar even having G-Max if it wasn't going to be this thing, you know? Like, honestly, maybe Gengar should have had Mega Evolution as well or something. It's just very unfortunate that that's how they constructed it. I don't know what's going to happen, but it's very unfortunate. I'm really hoping that the battle will be really good. It's in a couple of days from the time that I'm recording this, so we'll see what happens. So now there's I want to talk about the upcoming episodes that have been revealed real quick, and that's a 2-parter Eevee Chloe special coming up, Koharu or whatever, and it's going to be 2 Eevee episodes 2 weeks in a row, the 29th and whatever the first episode of August is. So at least we won't have a break, apparently. But I'm not really a fan of it happening right now. Like, I really couldn't care necessarily, but here's the thing. I really don't like what they're doing with Chloe and Eevee. I never really liked it. I was never on board, and I'm very disappointed that they went this route. I feel like if there was going to be an Eevee, it should have just gone to Ash and become an Espeon or something, just so we can have something different for once. Because look at what they did with Lana's Eevee. It's still an Eevee. It doesn't look like it's going to evolve, and it's a complete and utter waste. They didn't even bother developing its character at all. To shove an Eevee that doesn't evolve, that has some sort of Gmax to Pokemon Journeys, and not do it from the very beginning, and just drag your ass along the fucking ground in regards to it, is quite frankly quite bullshit, and I really don't like it. It's not that I hate Koharu. I don't hate that she has an Eevee, but I just don't see the point. I absolutely do not see the point in this stupid Eevee two-parter other than to wrap up her character. But personally, it's too little, too late for me to even give a rat's ass about the storyline. Because if they were really going to shove Gmax Eevee onto Chloe or whatever, they should have done it a long time ago. And the thing that annoys me all about this is that they really couldn't have done a worse service. Like, we've had situations where characters didn't know what they were going to do for too long, and it's like, you're going to introduce a character, you should have some idea of what you want to do with that character before you bring it onto the goddamn show. It is absolutely infuriating that they're going to rely on how the series plays out before deciding what to do with anything. You see what they did with Serena? They took forever to give her a goal. And with Chloe, it's even worse because they don't even have a goal for her. She's trying to figure out what she's going to do, and it's going to be like, I don't understand the point. Like, what is the point of the character other than to be the daughter of the professor that Go and Ash are, research fellows for? Because he has to have a family or whatever. It's just absolutely ridiculous. I don't have a problem with the placement necessarily as much as I don't really see the point. But whatever, maybe there'll still be good episodes or whatever. I don't know. For me, it's probably going to be me watching the episode on 2x speed if I can. Anyway, that's pretty much the discussion I have for this particular Pokemon Journeys videos. So thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.